What up, y'all? It's me, I2I35, aka Josiah David, and this video is titled The Top 16 Most Impaired Mistakes Atheists Make. I'm going to be going through this list one by one. Here we go. Number 1. They continuously fail to provide any evidence that atheism is accurate and correct. Number 2. They happen to stick with more of an unscientific attitude of name-calling rather than just debating creationists nowadays. And again, I'm still trying to confirm my email address for Blog TV to debate evolutionists. Number 3. They seem as if they want to put forth this characteristic initiative of an attitude as if this world is supposed to come to that of a rude, cussing, swearing, disrespectful, egotistical, assertion-filled, unscientific, malicious, derogatory, God-denying people, when that world would hardly make any advancements in science whatsoever. Number 4. They're usually confusing the terms evolution with variation within the kinds, and like using that as an example of evolutionism happening right before our eyes when it's not. They're confusing not only themselves, but others too. Number 5. When claiming God is harsh and evil, besides all the misconceptions and misunderstandings, they are refuting and contradicting their very position, when it's supposedly no big deal if God already doesn't exist in their mind, and when the Bible is the very doctrine that defines what's harsh and evil. Number 6. They claim they can be moral and can supposedly explain its origin, when soon enough they go off on a lot of vulgar gutter talk and disrespectfulness and are ignorant of the dark history atheism has played in society. Morality has had no origin. Its very source is the Lord himself. We, as sinful, fallen, fallible beings, are in no position to describe and limit morality. Number 7. Degenerated atheists cannot be trusted with the word religion, because the manner in which they use it is way beyond crazy and confusing. They claim to be against religion, when they're really only out to bash the gospel, a message that is polar opposite to religion, and using all sorts of flawed reasons as to why they are against it. I might discuss that in another video. But they really don't seem to mind Eastern religions. For example, if I brought up Jesus, they would say, oh, no, I'm not into religion. But if I brought up Buddha, they'd say, oh, wow, Buddhism, wow. See the difference? And it seems like they love teaming up with Muslims to profess the same sarcastic rubbish that Christians, Jews, and Muslims all worship the same God, when they're totally ignorant of the reality that Muslims have a totally different God than the Jews and Christians. Number 8. They say God doesn't exist, but then they use his name as a curse word. What is the point of keeping him in your sarcastic language if you try to profess he doesn't exist? Try to be a bit more consistent with exclamations and such, because it's very disappointing. Number 9. They try to profess they can't believe the Bible because of science. They can't fool me. They're really hiding behind that word to mean evolutionism and millions of years, which is not a legitimate science. And they are ignorant of the fact that nearly all branches of science were established by Bible-believing Christians, and that science has repeatedly confirmed many areas of study in the Bible. Science and the Bible go along just fine, but science does not go along well with religion and ideologies. Number 10. They say that creation scientists and Christian creationists are uneducated, when the very exact visible appeal of current society showing a sign of cursing, cussing, swearing, gutter-mouthing, disrespectful, mean, short-sighted, narrow-minded, simple-minded, credulous, selfish, hypocritical, all-called-playing, ignorant, arrogant, insecure, vague, conscienceless, egotistical, speculating, simplistic, assertion-filled, unscientific, disgusting, backstabbing, biased, liberal, degenerate, depressed, sorrowful, violent, dangerous, suicidal, drunk, drug-taking, crime-infesting, baby-killing, sexually immoral, indoctrinated, manipulated, hallucinating, irrational, delusional, uneducated, untutored, unwise, unrighteous, unproductive, inconsistent, undetermined people, which shows absolutely no sign of an educated generation whatsoever. Why would you defend the very philosophy that supports all this degeneracy? Perhaps it'd be safe to say that America used to raise up educated people, those who acknowledged and understood that there was a loving Creator who made them, and that by studying and researching the earth they could establish good, pure, real science that was a major area of study that revealed God's fingerprint in creation. People like Isaac Newton, James Clerk Maxwell, George Washington Carver, etc. Number 11. Their non-stop continuous practical game of comparing apples and oranges. For example, they like comparing God to the tooth fairy, when obviously there's no evidence for the tooth fairy, and there's abundant evidence that God is not fictional. Number 12. Destroying certain words appliances, child abuse, terrorist, brainwashing, fundamentalist, cult, uneducated, education, science, reason, logic, religion, scientist, etc. They're destroying all those words and really confusing many people with how they use them. Number 13. They claim creationists use circular reasoning in their logic, when by close observations they don't. I'll discuss this in another video. Actually, their very own religion of evolutionism has several areas of circular reasoning, like survival of the fittest. Oh, teacher, why did it survive? Oh, because it's fittest, survival of the fittest. How do you know it's the fittest? Because it survived. And by supposedly dating the fossils by the rocks, by dating the rocks by the fossils. Circular reasoning. Number 14. When we try to show them a particular verse from the Bible to show an absolute truth or authority or statement, they always go off on their oxymoron rubbish again that it's Bronze Age mythology, when there's no evidence whatsoever for a Bronze Age except a buried layer of strata with a lot of bronze in it, and when they're senselessly, egotistically underestimating a long history of meticulous, intelligent, godly, wise people who sweated their lives out to write many books for one book that would help warn and inform future generations of people about the big picture and what's going on. Number 15. Atheists stress that Jesus didn't exist when he is the very person that divided our timeline dates into BC and AD, and there's no other way around to explain how that happened. Number 16. They're erroneous, flawed, untrustworthy judging. This is the last part. Finally, number 16, they're erroneous, flawed, untrustworthy judging. They say reality's awesome, when supposed reality is totally and continuously contradicting their cheap wishful thinking. They say Expelled, which was a documentary meticulously put together by those who willingly wanted to get everything right, is boring and lying, when in reality Inherit the Wind is a boring and lying Hollywood fantasy film that got nearly nothing right about the Scopes trial. They like to say the interview between Ben Stein and Richard Dawkins is stupid and not a debate, when in reality the Anderson Cooper one was stupid and not a debate. Atheists like to say that Hovind was stumped by a scientific question, when in reality Dawkins was the one who was truly stumped by a scientific question. They like to say George Carlin, for example, was a wise, smart, intelligent person, when in reality Carlin was only a simple-minded, brainwashed, assertion-filled, drugged-up lout, no offense, and basically Kent Hovind is the one who really reaches the standard adjectives of smart, wise, and intelligent. Atheists say they're for free speech, when in reality we're the ones who are trying to fight for free speech. One word, expelled. And free speech was a right to say right things. It is simply inconsistent for denialist atheists to use that phrase in their stance, but it does go for us. Our free speech is being attacked and harassed. They like to think God doesn't exist, when in reality so much evidence has been gathered in favor of an all-powerful, all-loving creator who's always been there, and they are without excuse. So that is a list that I have put together after a long time being here on YouTube and really observing what's going on and how things really are and what's going on and what the realities are. So that's all I had to say for this video. So peace out, keep thinking, Jesus bless you, and TTFN, ta-ta for now, and Happy New Year. Goodbye.